My pastor used to always say that when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. And darlings, we've all been there. Learning something new, you're bound to make mistakes. But he adds this to the equation. Rather than learn from your own mistakes, why don't you learn from people who have gone before you and use their mistakes to correct yourself so you don't get to make them? And today, I offer my mistakes bare before you so you don't get to make them. So let's hop into today's video. Welcome back, Magic Makers. Today we're going to be talking about something really interesting, which is some mistakes I made as a beginner voiceover artist on Upwork. I like to say that in trying to learn something new, you have to learn how the system works. A lot of people just maybe hear that, oh, Upwork is the reigning thing, or Fiverr is the reigning thing, and they jump into it without even getting to know how it works. Or maybe you heard that now it's voices.com or it's voices123, and you're just jumping into the platform and you don't have a clue of how the ecosystem works, or how to get clients, or how to write a good proposal, or write different things that, or different information that you need to make, successes in that platform. And one of the things I would say I made as an error was jumping into a platform. Interestingly, I joined Upwork in the year 2020, which was the year of COVID. And because I didn't know what I was doing, almost got scammed like 5,000 times on the platform, I decided to leave the platform, and I decided and concluded that it wasn't for me. But it was a lie, because now, a year ago, when I decided to take freelancing seriously, I started getting gigs and getting jobs. So one thing I would say is don't just jump into the platform. It's a good thing that you're watching this video now because you want to try to understand, okay, some mistakes you shouldn't make. But there are tons of video on YouTube, just like mine, that can teach you how, the platform works. And I have a ton of video you can also find on my channel on how, as on my journey as a beginner or as a starting freelancer. All right. So don't jump into the platform. Read the terms and conditions. When I first got into the platform, I was like, no worry, no need to read the terms and conditions. Lies. I had to read them to know what was a violation and what wasn't, because those would really help you to know how the platform works. So, in conclusion, learn how the platform works. Number 2, my profile. Oh my God. I never thought I was going to start doing YouTube videos about my journey as a freelancer. I never even thought I was going to do YouTube videos. If not, I would have left my before, profile, so you would have seen how terrible it was. Some people's profile is incomplete. Some people's about you on your profile is just terrible. Just give me your work and I can help you, or I've been a visa. Ah, ah. There's a way to professionally get your profile, amped up in a way where if someone just sees the profile, they're like, I need her. She's the video artist I need. All right. So your profile, everything in your profile should be filled up. Everything. It doesn't matter if it just has to be filled up. Okay. Let me give an example that is really striking. In your education section, I know some people like me probably didn't have a theoretical experience. I was never an art student. I was always a science student. I did pharmacy and then did biotech. So I didn't really have any relation to, voice acting whatsoever, which most of my clients always get to ask me, like, what is the relationship? And I'm like, it's a Nigerian thing. And if you're Nigerian and you know what I'm talking about, leave that in the comment below. All right. So you may have to put, education there, and then you can go down to certifications, because I had a ton of certifications I had done in learning voice acting, animation, audio production, blah, 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 blah. Use that section to highlight your skills. Don't put anything that is not relevant to voice acting on your profile. For example, in your worksheet, Why would you go and put something about coding in your past work? It's why? Because I see some people do that and I'm like, I don't get it. You're a voice actor. Why are you putting something about graphics design when it's not graphics? When you didn't put up on the, about you or title that you're a voiceover artist slash graphics designer, or probably you put voiceover artist and graphics designer, and the only thing we'd see on your works are graphics design. Where the voice acting do? Sorry to say. All right, so let your profile be amped up. Put the things that are supposed to be there, and make solid demos, and put it there. I'll be coming up with a video very soon, maybe after this one, so you can check it right here on how to create a solid demo as a beginner voiceover artist. All right, so moving on, number 3 is cover letters. I think that's everybody's most dreaded part on Upwork. And I know a lot of people are like me who made that same mistake. In fact, I made it for over 6 months. Sometimes I wrote cover letters that were too short. Sometimes I wrote cover letters that were just too long. And it was long and filled with irrelevant information. Sorry about the laugh, all right? But it was just filled with irrelevant information. Let your cover letter drive down to what the client wants. In watching tons of YouTube videos and taking some trainings, I got to realize that, you know, as a freelancer, the client doesn't really want to know stuff about you like that outside their work. They want to know how you can get their job done. They want to know if you have the right voice type for the character that they want to, animate, or their narration, if you have the right voice for it. That's what they want. They don't want to know if you have a cat or a rat or a dog. They want to know how you can be, why you're the best man for the job. And your cover letters should be specifically written to the job post. All right, one of the mistakes I made was copy and pasting cover letter templates. So when I was watching YouTube videos, on every YouTube video that dropped a cover letter template, which I probably will do at the end of this video, um, I used to copy and paste it every time. Copy and paste. And I was wondering, why wasn't I getting the job? Well, you were copy and pasting the job and copy and pasting the template without adjusting it or streamlining it to what the client wants. Sometimes you can tell how a client is by how they type. If their demos or their job post is like 2, 3 lines, 4 lines, you can tell that this person isn't big on talk. They just want somebody who can do the job right now. And if you see other people who have lengthy, job posts, the description of the job they want done is kind of lengthy, and you just gonna write 4 lines there. I don't understand. It shows that you're not as interested as the client wants you to be, right? So don't just copy and paste templates of cover letters you see on YouTube or on Google. Streamline it. If, for example, somebody writes that they want somebody for a basketball, channel, a narrator for a basketball channel, it shouldn't be about you shouldn't be talking about football or fashion. You could talk about football probably if you have an experience before and say, oh, I voiced for a football or a sports channel rather in a year ago or 2 months ago, and this was the result. Tell result, prove result. So for example, you could be like, let's use that for example. So you could say, I voiced for a sports channel for the most recently, I voiced for, a sports channel, and they had over 2,000 views and engagement rate. And one of the comments that were said was your narration, that the person who's narrating is amazing. The person kept me engaged. You can, and put a link of that, channel that you voiced. And then, when the person opens that kind of cover letter, they're immediately interested because they know that, oh, this person has done it before. And you could add a little juice. Probably you're a fan of basketball like I am. You could put at the end, oh, I really love basketball. And that's one of the, specs that really make me great for the job because I have great interest and I always, give my A game because I know how the sport works. I know how it has to be energetic, so I'm just, giving an overview. So what I'm just trying to say is don't copy and paste cover letters. Make sure your cover letters is directly addressing the problem that your client has. Okay. Number 4 is scams. All right. Like I said earlier, I almost fell for scams so many times. All right. And what is the way that you can, avoid scams? I would say is number 1, check the client's review. Usually in addition to the cover letter I talked about is, starting the cover letter with the client's name, and you can find that in the past work that they have done before. And you can also find reviews of what the client is like. So for example, if a client has 2 stars, that's already a red flag. And if everybody, is giving like 2 stars, 3 stars, 1 star on the client's page, that's a big red flag. And don't even think that, probably for me it'll be different. Probably for me, I'll be the different one. It's
If you don't get it, forget about it.
another scam a lot would be outrageous, price or payment. For example, you're gonna do like a 30 seconds voiceover and the payment is like $1,000. Bro, seriously. That's already a red flag. So don't, don't go there. It's a red flag. All right. Lastly, I would say, which is one of the biggest points for me in this entire video, is inconsistency. A lot of people complain about not getting jobs because they're inconsistent. You don't keep up. You bid for a job today. You don't bid for a job tomorrow. You're on the platform today. The next time you're on the platform, it's like 3 months again. No, you have to build some level of consistency. Any high earning freelancer on Upwork, they worked hard to get there. They didn't just wake up and found themselves there. They had to work really hard to get there. So don't just expect that, oh, I'm gonna bid today and I'm gonna get it today. It may not happen like that. All right. Even though I would say for me in Fiverr it happened, but then again, it might not happen like that. All right. So you have to be consistent. There has to be some level of determination. And I would add a little bit or a point within this point, which is, buying connects. A lot of people depend on the 10 connects that Upwork gives every month. For example, you're new on the platform, definitely they'll give you like 80 connects, I think. Yeah, 80 connect. And after that, every month they'll give you 10 connects. I don't really opt for people, paying for the membership or premium, plan because it's 100 connects and you can just get it. You can just get additional 100 connects by paying like, $15, I think, or $20, $22. I'm not sure. All right. So, but I'll write that here. All right. So, but you have to have some level of commitment to freelancing. You can't just expect that you're going to be some big shot overnight. You have to be consistent. And the more you keep writing cover letters, the more you keep sending in those proposals, you're going to learn how to do it better. You're going to be doing it better each time you get it done. So don't stop. Don't get discouraged. One thing I did, that helped me a lot was fake confessions. I'm a believer, a Christian, so I believe that your words, create what you want in your life. So I kept speaking and saying, I'm going to get a job. Before the end of 2024, I'm going to get a job. Before the end of 2024, I'm going to get a job. And before the end of 2024, I actually got a job. All right. So don't stop. Don't get tired. Don't quit because it seems so difficult, because when you start making those big dollars and big earnings, you're going to be excited, so don't stop, so keep doing it. Don't stop. And, Keep sending in those proposals, and I promise you that you won't regret it, because I'm not regretting it now. Right? So that is all I have for today's video. And I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. And if you haven't liked this video, like it now. And if you haven't subscribed, darling, hit that subscribe button now so you can get more fun content.